Yo, what's up, everybody? We're back for episode 118 of the Think Big podcast. My name's Marlon Johnson. I got Sam Singh here with me. We appreciate you guys for hanging out. I know we are notoriously late to our own party. I don't think we've had a single week where every single person who's a host on the show has shown up on time all together. Maybe the very first episode. So I think this is just becoming our thing. I think you guys are getting ready to understand we're consistent, at least in that. And I love it. I mean, y'all are commenting in the chat before we even get here. So I think somebody showed up 30 minutes early. If I read some comments early, I think I saw we had our man Ronald showing up 30 minutes early, just saying focus. Like, that's preparation. So tonight we're going to be diving into arguably one of our most popular episodes, one of the most popular topics. This is the one that we get the most feedback from. The most amount of people have changes in their business. The most transformation occurs. And it's quarter for a quarter. And I want to give a little bit of history to this. I actually made an Instagram reel probably 30 minutes ago talking about how quarter for a quarter came into existence. And this one, shout out to you, Sam. We were on a late night call. We were working with a bunch of other investors, showing them how to talk to sellers. So we were calling their sellers live. We were having them call sellers live in front of us, and we were giving them feedback. And one woman, and I really wish I could remember her name, she came on and she had such a limiting mindset issue. And because of the mindset issue, y'all got me involved. I was scratching to get into the conversation. And we started to talk about what was possible as far as fiscally possible, as far as what your business could produce. And I asked her a simple question. I remember it clearly. I asked her, do you believe it's possible to make six figures in business in a single month? And I watched the level of hesitation behind what to me is an obvious answer. And so I see her hesitating with this, and I rephrased the question. I asked her about one of our mentors. I said, do you believe that guy Pace Morby? Do you believe Pace can go and make six figures in a single month? And she immediately, yeah, of course he can. And then I ask again, do you believe you can make six figures in a month? And then the hesitation. And I get mad. I say, look, the only difference between you and him is he believes he can make six figures in a month and you don't. And I want to prove to you that anyone can do it. I'm going to go ahead and make six figures happen in a month. And then Sam got behind that. Sam was like, hell yeah. I think we all just got fired up. And Sam was like, I'm going to go make six figures in a month. Now, let me give you guys some reference and some context here. Up until this point in time, I think the most I had ever made in a month was maybe around like $18,000 to $20,000. The most. That was the most amount I ever made in my life. And it wasn't like I was doing that consistently on repeat. So when I made this claim that I'm going to go out and do six figures, I had never done six figures. When Sam got on this and said, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go do that too. He had never done six figures at that point. And we straight up willed this into existence. And some of you might remember Six Figure February. That became the chant. That became the battle cry of February. And so ever since then, we started doing this series after and by the way, we both accomplished our six-figure feat. After that, we decided to do a series where instead of just talking about six-figure February, we started talking about how to do a quarter in a quarter. Because we found way too many people were thinking on way too short of a time horizon, and we needed to expand their time horizon just a little bit. And a quarter is that first stretch that's not so far out that it's unobtainable, but it's not so short that you don't have enough time to do it if you're following the proper blueprint. And so we're going to give you a blueprint. We're going to share with you the blueprints that we use. It's not the only blueprint. It's not the magic blueprint. This is just what we found success with. And we want to share it with y'all tonight. So if you're excited to be here, go ahead and do like Ronald, drop some fire in the chat. Also, what's up, Sydney? What's up, Juan? Good to see y'all. Good to see you, Ivan. Glad to see some of our homies back here. And if you already know that we're about to drop value like we do every week, please, right now, while you're here, share the episode. I know I asked you to share it at the end of the episode. I know you do it. You're all awesome. We appreciate y'all. I mean, honestly, the channel's been growing thanks to y'all. But I want people to be here live so they can get their questions answered. And we could hopefully even adjust a couple of your blueprints in real time if you're engaging in the comments. So, Sam, let's jump into it, bro.
Okay. Dude, I'm excited about this one. So I'm gonna probably just go on a tear today because we do not have nearly enough time. And excuse me, this wire's weird. Okay. Uh there's a huge issue in the industry. This industry, every industry. I have friends who are in wholesale, lending, buying real estate. They do. I have friends in the solar industry, the roofing industry, pest control. They're freaking making CRMs. Half my friends have their own go high level CRM. And here's what always happens: everyone who starts in business, they usually will start a business, have a level of early success very often, right? And usually it's because they're marketing to their warm audience. If you're a lender, you're going to start posting on Instagram and you're going to have everyone who knows you immediately like know that you do the thing. And then they're going to work with you. And then eventually what's going to happen is you're going to exhaust that pool of people. And what ends up happening always, almost always, is that people just end up not having predictability in their business, and they don't understand, hey, I'm still posting on Instagram, hey, I'm still posting on Facebook, but last month when I first started, I had 20 deals come through. I had 5 new people raise their hands and say they wanted to lend their money to me, but now it's one person, it's 2 people, maybe it's one person every other month. And the reason why don't have the predictability is, one, there's a lot of stuff we can dive into the marketing, but two, they're setting improper expectations. And then what they end up thinking is like, let me just do more of the same thing, and not understand the nuance behind why that worked the first time. And more importantly, why it won't work again the second time if you don't make a change. And so I think fundamentally there is a massive, massive disconnect especially in the real estate space. Let me do this really quickly. I just saw that we went live. Guys, if you are on Instagram, I don't know if you mentioned this, Marlon. If you're on Instagram, go to my link in my bio. I'm going to even put this in this to do link in bio to come on to YouTube. That way we can go into your business if you have questions. So
Dude, Sam, we got to get you those automations so people could just comment the word YouTube and come on over here.
Is that okay? So if you're on Marlon's Instagram, comment the word YouTube, and then his fancy robots and his AI are gonna, handle all that. Okay, guys. Really, really quickly, I need to say this. Business is freaking simple. I don't care what anybody says. And Marlon, I've presented on this in your mastermind twice now, I think almost twice now, which is that almost every business fundamentally has the exact same 6 pillars. And once you understand how those 6 pillars work, and you understand that across 99.9% of businesses, there may be a few exceptions here and there, but across like almost everything anyone in the chat is doing right now, all your businesses are fundamentally the same. And if you understand how to set proper expectations, how to reverse engineer your revenue goals, it becomes predictable, like scientific, mathematic. It's the weirdest thing ever. And then you take the guesswork out of business. But if you don't start with reverse engineering the blueprint first, and then you start causing action, creating chaos, doing all these beautiful, amazing things, you are then going to be surprised when the predictability isn't there. And then you're going to come and chat with me, you're going to chat with Marlon. And especially if you slide into my DMs and you have business problems and your business isn't tracking the way that you want it to, I'm going to ask you what your numbers are. I'm going to say, well, cool. How many leads you're generating? What's your marketing going to look like? This, that, and the other. What's your cash conversion cycle based on things that you're doing? And you're not going to have any answers at all. So I'm like, how do you want to do a deal a month, or make 50K a month, or retire from your job, which pays a $250,000 salary every single year, if you don't understand exactly how to reverse engineer everything in the business? And so today, because we do have a time constraint with YouTube, we're only going for the next 45 minutes. What we're going to do is we're going to go through this amazing guide that I've created, and I'm actually revamping the guide again to like a 4.0 version. And a lot of you guys may know this if you were on the Signature Masterclass last year. No, 2023 actually. Wow, it's been over a year. Called Killer KPIs. And Killer KPIs is this amazing spreadsheet that I've made, because here's the problem with KPIs. One, everyone here should know that KPIs stand for key performance indicators. Cool, right? I think a lot of gurus and a lot of people on social media are doing a much better job of highlighting what KPIs mean and what they usually can be. And everyone kind of seems to know it. And eventually every guru will make a reel talking about what a KPI is. Here's the thing. And Marlon, you probably know this too. Most people on YouTube and on Instagram and on the social media world, they'll say KPI and key performance indicators. What they don't realize, because most of them aren't running legitimate businesses at a high level, and what you may not realize is there's actually 3 forms of KPIs. So there's KPIs, key performance indicators, which we all know, okay? There is key process indicators, which basically denotes a whole separate slew of things. And then the last one, I'm going to save the last one because that's some executive level shit that we can talk about later. But when you get into higher level rooms, right, higher level masterminds, it's not enough to be like, yeah, my key performance indicators. Well, they're going to ask about your key process indicators. They're going to ask you about the third one too. And if you don't dial those in, you will have no chance, absolutely no freaking chance of being able to step away from your business and scale. I swear to you. And so today what we're going to do is we're going to go over the killer KPI spreadsheet. I'm going to pull that up right now. And just to know that we are only going to be able to go through like 1/10 of the spreadsheet today. And what we're going to do is I'm actually working with this cool designer person. We're going to revamp the entire thing, turn it into a more functional guide. Because I think, Marlon, this is my speculation, is that most people who want to start learning how to track their stuff, okay, they do a really, really good job of understanding that they need to track their numbers. They know that they need to track their cost per lead and their how many leads they generated and what their offer rate is. But here's the thing. They know to track these things, but guys, every single metric you track is a diagnosis meter or ratio or metric. It literally, it's not just a number just to know. It is not enough to know what your cost per lead is. Because if your cost per lead starts trailing really high, you have to understand that that is diagnosing something wrong in your business, more specifically in your lead generation or your lead capturing, okay? Now, if your cost per contract goes high, right? Well, my cost per lead stayed the same, but my cost per contract stayed high or got higher. Guys, do you have a lead generation issue? A marketing issue? No. There's something missing. There's some disconnect that's happening, not in your marketing or your lead gen, but now into the second pillar of business, which is your sales process. And so it is not enough. And I'm sick and tired of all these influencers with their lead magnets saying, here's my KPI calculator, here's my KPI tracker. And then you have no idea what any of it means. And it actually causes more overwhelm in the entrepreneur's mind rather than help them actually diagnose their business and figure out what the hell's going on. So my goal with Killer KPIs, it started off as a freaking tracker. Okay. It was, here's all the stuff I track. Here's a calculator, use it. And you know what ended up happening, Marlon? I gave it to like 200 people in like 24 hours, and like 5 people ended up using it. And then I polled everyone and I said, why aren't more of you using it? Like, I've dropped over $100,000 to learn all the stuff that's in this spreadsheet. Why aren't you using it? And the number one answer was, it's really smart and it's tracking all the things, but I don't understand those things. And if you don't understand them, you don't understand why they're important, how to make a pivot in your business. And here's a key thing, guys. I think we're in a realm where influencers will teach you to over track things, and you will go into the weeds in tracking, and then you will lose sight of the picture that actually matters. So everything you track gives you insight to your business, and it gives you insight on a business decision that you can make. Okay. If you cannot make a tactical executive decision based on a metric, then it is a vanity metric that doesn't matter. Remove it from your spreadsheet, kill it. It shouldn't exist. We don't track things that do not give us actionable insight in our business. Okay. Had to say that. I'm going to grab some water real quick.
Dude, I love that. And it's funny, while you're grabbing water, one of my favorite entrepreneurs and influencers and just like overall like heroes to me, Rob Dyrdek, right? Skateboarder, pro skateboarder. A lot of people don't realize how much of a businessman he is. And that dude is maniacal in tracking the things he wants to see grow. And he's obsessed with understanding how the numbers correlate. So it's not just tracking for the sake of tracking. It's you look at the numbers and they tell you a story. They will actually tell you exactly where your attention needs to go in order to improve something, but only if you understand. So I'm looking forward to this. Guys, I'm going to say it one more time. I put it in the chat. Grab your pens and pencil. Like, get your papers out. Tonight's a note-taking night. Tonight is, you don't want to just sit here and absorb passively, actively absorb tonight's information. It can change your business in 2025. So Sam, get back to it, bro. I'm taking notes right now.
Huge. Okay, we're going to dive right into it. Sean, no. I'm going to save that for the next signature masterclass because that is an extremely, just so you know, the answer to the third one, literally cost me $30,000 in a mastermind program to get the answer to that third one, because I knew there was something missing, and I literally had to pay 30 grand to get into a room of people who are all C-suite and above. So CEOs, COOs, CFOs, CSOs, all these things, like C-suite executive officers. And only when I got there, they were like, yeah, what are these numbers for you? And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And then I made it very clear they weren't tracking their cost per lead. I mean, they were, but they didn't spend their time worrying about the cost per lead or the cost per click or the cost per contract. They were tracking these other things. And this was a huge unlock for me. And fun fact, within 6 months of learning that, my business probably doubled, which is really cool. Okay, but we're going to get into it. Guys, again, I'm going to do this. I'm going to zoom out a little bit.
Yeah, do that. Zoom out, bro. Zoom out.
Do you see these tabs right here? Start here, revenue, marketing.
Yeah,
Yep,
I mean, you might want to zoom back in, but I mean, I can see it, but like at full
Okay, good.
screen.
No,
Yeah,
you're
that's
good. You're good. I just want everyone to know that they're there, because here's the thing. We are not going to be able to go through all of them. In fact, we're only going to stick with part one, which is the revenue goals. The last time I did this, it took me 4.5 hours on a live call with like 800 people. So guys, just know that we're only touching the iceberg here. And this is not even the juicy part. The juicy part gets in later. Okay, let's just get into it. So part one, revenue goals, right? You guys want to make a quarter for the quarter, right? You want to make $250,000 in 3 months, right? That's $250,000 in a quarter of the year, a calendar quarter of the year. Sweet. Here's what you have to understand. Okay. And I'm going to go through some of these things. I'm going to walk you through them. And do me a favor. If you have any questions at all, freaking put them in the chat. Put them in the chat, because I want to make sure you guys understand these things. Okay. Number one, you guys, this is like a mantra. We track things daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly. Okay. There's different things that we track daily. There's different things that we track weekly, different things we track monthly, and different things we track quarterly. And here's a very important thing. When all of these things, right, the four bases that we track on, the four time spans that we track on, there is zero redundancy. A lot of the times we look at people who are over tracking, and they track things daily, but they're tracking the same metric weekly, and they're tracking that same metric again quarterly, right? And they have 3 different spreadsheets, all basically saying the exact same thing. Here's the problem. Is that good to be that in the weeds? I'm sure from a data perspective, but you're a human being. You are not an Excel spreadsheet. And what always happens is that the entrepreneur becomes overwhelmed cognitively, and they cannot make good decisions. And so that is a very simple thing. I want to make sure you guys have zero redundancy in how you track things. Okay. That's number one. Now, number two, if you are in the world of real estate, whether you're a wholesaler, a buy-in holder, a flipper, a lender, whether it's transactional or long-term, or you do hard money, whatever the hell it is that you do, okay, you are not going to set revenue goals monthly. There are very few business models, right? Only very transactional business models do you set goals. Okay, I'm not saying not track. I'm saying goals. Setting of goals. We don't do them monthly in this industry. Why? Because it's too quick. Escrows take time. Deals take time. Freaking running a title report nowadays can take you 2 weeks, depending on if you have a shitty title company. So you're not going to be able to set a goal in a month. And this is one of the biggest killers in the industry, is people set daily, weekly, monthly goals. Very often they put all of their energy and their life force into hitting a $10,000 a month goal. 30 days later, the business hasn't been on long enough. They don't hit it. And then they just decide it doesn't work, but they were on the right track. So it's important to set proper timelines. So we don't set revenue goals monthly. We set them quarterly. Okay, that's because we have what's known as a cash conversion cycle. If you guys don't know what that means, basically from the moment that you put $1 into a system, whether that's ads, marketing, generating leads, whatever it is, the second that you put $1 into the system, there is a corresponding length of time that will have to go by before you predictably get that dollar back with a return on it, hopefully. That timeline is known as a cash conversion cycle. So I can't go into that too long. Yes, this is why, even though we may like to hit a monthly goal, we actually operate in quarters. The only businesses where you are going to do monthly are extremely transactional businesses. So if you're selling a product or a very basic service, like you're in pest control or lawn care or pool servicing, very easy. I show up, I knock on your door, I sell you a pest control package, you pay me money, we're good to go. It's simple. Or you go to Target. Target can set monthly goals. Hell, they can even set daily goals. Why? Because their cash conversion cycle is literally in a matter of moments. You walk in, pick up a t-shirt off the rack, go to the register, close it. Awesome. Easy for them to do that. In our industry, you need to think in longer time horizons. And here's a really important thing about this, guys. Psychologically, as an entrepreneur, you guys need to start getting much better, much better. Everyone, me included, Marlon included, we need to get much better at thinking on longer time horizons. The shorter we think, the more sporadically and unreliable we are as entrepreneurs. We become volatile because we want short-term gratification. We're not willing to play the long game. So that's part two. Boom. I love this. Okay, I love this one. Part three. This one is how you launch your business and set goals for the upcoming quarter. Awesome. So you're going to do this every quarter. Okay. If you have this spreadsheet, if you already have it, or you're going to get the one that I'm redoing, and you have the new one, you're going to do this every single quarter. You're going to start this at the beginning of the quarter. You're going to set your goals. You're going to treat this thing like the damn business Bible that it is. And then at the end of the quarter, you're going to reassess where you're at. At the next quarter, you're going to repeat, do the exact same thing. And trust me, shit works. Okay, let's do this. Boom. Okay, I'm going to get right into it. And guys, we're going to, just so you guys know, a little bit more familiar with this, the left side with the yellow boxes, this is all going to change as I'm updating this and I send it out. And I promise, just follow me on Instagram, subscribe to the YouTube, all that kind of good stuff. Everyone's going to get it. The yellow stuff is where we input like our goals and our numbers and our ideas. And on this right side, Sam's insights. Here's the key with these. I am actually going to redo all of these and make them even better. The whole point of the insights is to help you understand what matters, why it matters, if there's a calculation, why it's there. So like right here, a lot of times people will say, oh, a KPI that we track is our close rate or our success rate. And then if you're brand new, you have no freaking clue what that means. They're gonna be like, oh, well, it's the amount of deals that, actually end up closing and succeeding. And you're like, cool, that kind of makes sense. But if you don't understand the effect it has on your business, on your marketing, on your sales, on your commissions that you're able to pay out to your people, what ends up happening is you just set improper expectations. You have a 6-figure a month goal, and then you don't do it because 2 of your contracts fell through at escrow and you weren't planning for that. So you didn't generate enough leads, you didn't close enough deals, you didn't account for it properly. And understand that we are not in a perfect industry. Real estate right now is freaking hard. I don't give a shit what anyone says. I've had so many friends in 2024 who run multi-7-figure businesses who've all gone out of business. Like I can count at least 6-7 guys who are making over $1 million a year, making in their wholesale business or their flipping business. A few of them are making way more money than me, and they shut down their doors because they weren't on top of their numbers, especially they didn't play enough margin in a tight real estate economy, especially like the one that we've had the last 2 years. So very important to play with margin. So if our realized revenue goal, right, I'm gonna make this as simple as possible. Okay, your realized revenue goal is $250,000, 250,000. Understand that this is the amount of money that you want to close, as in not the amount that you lock up, not the amount of contracts that you have in the projected assignment fees. No, after everything is said and done, after the child support liens show up, after the federal tax lien blocks the deal, after the heir doesn't want to sign off on the paperwork and you lose 2 deals, if your goal is to make $250,000, we're going to put that here. This is why I care about, child support liens and heirs and all the other stuff, title search issues, or your seller lied to you and then you thought the property was a lot nicer than it actually is. And so you have to go and kill the contract because you locked it up too high. Your successful close ratio is basically what percentage of deals that you contract actually end up making it to the closing table. And what's funny is for several years now, I think the industry average, like for a decent operator, was 1 out of 4 deals will fall through. Mm-hmm. I think we're actually worse than that right now. From everything I'm seeing, I think we're at like half. I feel like 50% of deals are falling through. But what I'm going to do, just to keep numbers simple, is I'm going to leave it as 1 out of 4. So if you lock up 4 deals, 3 of them, 75% will close. Okay. And then Marlon, do me a favor. If anyone has a question, because I have to keep bouncing back and forth.
Yep. No, I got you, bro.
Awesome. Cool. Now we have the goal. We understand if we lock up 5 deals, right, or 4 deals, we know that one of them will fall through and we're accounting for that. So we're actually increasing our margin. This is how much we need to lock up. And this is important, guys. If you want to make $250,000 in a quarter, right, quarter for the quarter, you don't actually lock up $250,000. You actually have to lock up more than $250,000 because stuff is going to fall through. Okay. Title's going to be an issue. An agent's going to screw you over. Buyers are liars, sellers are worse. Some shit's going to happen, and you're going to have to play with margin. So when you set your goals in lead generation and sales, we're not setting the goals for 250,000. We're actually going to be setting the goals with a 75% close rate of 333,333, blah, 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 blah. And yes, the tool, the spreadsheet will actually give you all of those numbers. So you don't have to worry about calculating it, but don't worry. The Sam's Insight sections will help you understand all of those. Okay. Now you have to understand your average deal size. And this is the gross number. So if you're a wholesaler, what's your average assignment fee in your area or for your business specifically, depending on the marketing or the acquisition strategies you use? Because sub 2 deals almost always will be a lot lower on their assignment fee than a cash deal versus a novation versus a flip. So you have to understand all these things. If you're flipping, what's your average profit after you sold the property? If you're lending, what's your average return after your borrower has paid you back? And the key thing with the lenders is this, guys. I see lenders who don't understand how to actually like reverse engineer their business. What they'll do is this. They will lend out 50,000. Okay. They will get their 50,000 plus, let's just say $5,000 on top as a return. Okay. You get 55K back, and they will incorrectly label the 55 total as revenue, and it is not. Your revenue is actually the 5,000. So I want you guys to be very clear based on your business, your model, your strategies, your acquisition strategies, whether you're sub 2, seller finance, novations, hybrids, whatever the hell it is that you're doing. Okay. Some people are reverse flipping and they're taking over deeds for properties that have super messy title, this, that, and the other. Just understand what your gross revenue actually is. And if you don't know it because you're a little bit on the newer side, it is okay. What you want to do is hopefully be able to find the people in your marketplace, figure out what they're doing. Okay. Figure out someone who's been in business for a couple of years. They have a team. They understand what they're doing. What do their numbers look like? And expect that your numbers are going to be a little bit less than theirs. You're going to perform a little bit lower in terms of the amount of the quality or the amount of revenue you can generate because you're a little bit more inexperienced than them. That's okay. But use that as a baseline and then go from there. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Average deal size. Cool. This tool tells you this. I even like it does the math for you with all of these numbers. If I want to make $250,000 in 3 months with a 75% close rate, meaning 1 out of 4 deals will fall through at escrow for XYZ reason, I actually know that I need to not lock up $250,000. I need to lock up 333,000. Okay. And if my average deal size, my average assignment, my average profit on a flip, right, is 22,500, awesome. I only need to lock up 14 contracts in that quarter. And here's the interesting thing, guys. It's the amount that you need to lock up, okay? Not the amount that has to actually close at the closing table. This is the amount that you actually just have to get a seller to sign and open up an escrow on. That is it. And yes, sometimes 5 will fall through, 6 will fall through, maybe none will fall through if you're lucky. Cool. When we expand on a long enough time horizon, what we're going to see, these numbers will always keep ringing true over and over and over again. But I want you guys to let me know in the chat, if it's only 14 contracts over 3 months, does that actually sound like a lot, dude? Marlon, that doesn't sound like
over 3 months.
No, for 3 months, guys, even if you're a little bit on the newer side, a lot of times we think, oh, we want to make $250,000 in 3 months. We look at guys who are doing 6-figure months like, oh my God, they must be locking up 20 contracts a month or 30 deals a month. They must have this massive, insane team. It's actually not that difficult. It's a lot simpler than you might think it is. And you don't have to go to make $250,000 in 90 days. You don't have to go and do 52 deals. Hell, top line, knowing that some will fall through, you only actually have to do about 14 with these numbers. So I want you guys to understand that it's a lot more approachable than you might think it is. Okay. Now, ooh, I love this part. I love this because one of my good friends, Eric Klein, has been a fiend online for talking about in his business, guys. Every influencer is gonna prioritize a bunch of different things in terms of, and yeah. So, dude, boom, 1 a week.
Yep.
Right. Let's see. 3 months is 12 weeks. If you need to lock up 14, effectively 1 contract a week It's not that brutal. It's actually not as hard as people make it out to be. When you actually reverse engineer the numbers and set proper expectations, it becomes easy for you as the entrepreneur, as the founder, as the owner of the business to keep your head on straight, because you understand, I don't need to lock up 17 deals tomorrow to make $250,000. I just got to pace that one a week. And if next week it falls through, it's okay. I can just, as long as I keep hitting my number, one a week,
dude,
one a week, one a week.
Big thing here too is like targeting higher margins. But like, I just want to point that out too, because like you might be locking up one a week, but if you're locking up margin deals at like 4K a pop, 3K a pop, you're making this business a lot harder for yourself. Target deals with bigger spreads. If your market doesn't have it, be virtual. Go to a market that lets you do the business in the way that you need to do it.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm gonna hit on this because a good friend of ours, Jonah Korchin, we love Jonah. Jonah is he's in Colorado, but one of his, I think his major market still to this day is California. And he's from the Bay Area. If you guys don't know, California Bay Area, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house that looks like a piece of shit is going to sell for over $1 million. It's the funniest thing. And so in California, you could do a 6-figure assignment on one deal, on one 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. And that's not even like shooting for the stars. That's actually like almost predictable for a lot of these guys. I'm going to change these numbers back, but I want to showcase Marlon's point. Let's say you're in a market like California, okay? And let's say you're not a baller closer, right? You can't get 100,000 because your negotiation skills aren't perfect yet. You can't swing a 6-figure assignment on every deal. But let's say, and I'm legitimately not lying here, if you're in California, you should have no problem getting a $50,000 assignment fee, like more often than not, especially if you're in Southern California or the Bay Area, if not more. If you're not doing 50K on average, like you just need to work on your sales skills. I almost guarantee it. But to Marlon's point, let's look what happens to the numbers, right? Right now, we need to do 14 contracts to be able to make $250,000 in 3 months. What if our average deal size is 50,000? Now we only have to do 6.
Boom.
Just by doing what, guys? Going to a higher value market or entertaining a higher value strategy. And I know a lot of you guys, especially on the new side, you may be a little bit more worried about, oh man, I don't know if I can swing that. California, that's so tough, $1 million property. It's the exact same freaking process. It's the exact same process, whether you're in the middle of Ohio and the house costs 30 grand, or you're in Sacramento, California, and the house costs $950,000. I swear to you, it's the exact same. It's just a different economy of scale. And by doing the exact same work with the exact same inputs effectively, you can make way more money. But I'm going to go ahead and change it back. You know what? I kind of like the 50,000.
Dude, so do I, man. I think that's where most people should be putting their attention, but they get scared in the beginning. And honestly, y'all, if you're talking to homeowners who own properties that are worth $10,000, $20,000, it's the same amount of time. It's the same conversation, but you can't talk to 2 people at once. So if your team is pointed at the wrong market, it is going to do the same work, get little out of it. Consider getting into a bigger market.
I'll say this, guys, and I'm not telling you guys to go do this. I'm at a point in my real estate journey where not right now at least, I may come back to it later, but right now I can't entertain single family properties anymore for buy and holds for my rental portfolio. Yep. I need a higher level of economy of scale when it comes down to depreciation and holding assets. So I'm going for commercial self-storage facilities. And here's what's funny, to Marlon's point, exact same, we're still marketing, talking to sellers, having the same discovery process effectively, having the same negotiations. All we're doing is underwriting the deals a little bit differently because the underwriting process is just a little bit different, and that's it. But the funny part is, if we want to wholesale a self-storage facility, our expectation is to make $100,000 minimum on a wholesale fee. Crazy, right? So if you guys want to get into commercial space, and just so you guys know, there are people who only do multifamily wholesale, who only do self-storage wholesale, who only do land wholesale for really big properties. So they don't have to do 100 deals a year. They do 5, and they'll still make their $1 million.
Dude, my buddy I was catching up with a buddy over the weekend while I was getting a pedicure. And yes, I get pedicures. They're freaking phenomenal. And he told me he just paid out $1 million assignment to a wholesaler. That's one big commercial deal, $1 million assignment, and that wholesaler got a bit of equity. So there's a lot of power in going after big deals. But I don't want to derail this conversation, man. I'm loving this. Like, I'm taking notes. If y'all are getting value out of this, make sure you share this with a friend. Do not be selfish. Do not be greedy. Share the value. Sam, let's keep going, bro.
Let's do it. Last thing on this, guys, with the average deal size. I'm sorry. I love every community I've been a part of. I will say this: if you are brand new and you are trying to change your life and you need active income, you should not be wholesaling creative finance deals. That is not the goal. I want you in one deal. I don't want you to put all this work in and have a freaking $5,000 payment at the end if you're lucky that you don't have to split a million different ways. Because understand that when you're new, you may have to give up 20, 30, 40, 50% of your assignment fee because you're JVing with someone more experienced. But what happens when your assignment is $5,000, which is pretty standard on a creative finance subject to deal? And then you split that 50-50 with someone. Now you did 3 months of work for that one deal to close, and then you're taking home $2,500. Oh my God, might as well have just like been a personal trainer or worked at a freaking gym or done something else, because you probably would have made more money doing that. In the beginning, I want you to actually chase higher value strategies, especially cash.
Dude, that's a whole comment. I promise y'all, we're doing an episode on why you should be doing cash wholesale if you're going to be a wholesaler. I promise you that will be an entire episode. And by the time we're done, you will no longer feel FOMO about going after creative deals.
Yeah, love creative finance. I love buying creative finance, but guys, we don't even wholesale creative finance deals anymore, and we've done like hundreds of them. So, okay, I'm gonna leave the numbers because I like the 50,000. I want people to think big. So if you're chasing a market, right? And guys, it's not any more different to go into a market where you can get $50,000 assignment fees very, very easily. California is one of them. Super easy to do, super simple to do. Now you don't need to have 14 contracts locked up, right? You only need 6. So in a 12-week period, that means what? 1 every other week? That's not difficult. That is actually not very difficult. And then here's the thing. You guys need to understand this. For every contract to be signed, you have to understand how many offers is it going to take for you to get that contract. So just know, and what do we qualify when do you get an offer? Do you just generate a lead and hit them with a cash offer or hit them with an LOI and do all that dumb stuff? Hell no. There's a reason why no one at the highest levels of this game, none of them are blasting offers to everyone who has a heartbeat. Here's why. Because when you do that, you do not get enough meaningful insight into your KPIs on what's not working. When you're sending out offers to unqualified sellers, unvetted opportunities, right? What's going to end up happening is they're going to be turned down, and then you're going to think, oh my God, the list is the problem. The data is the problem. My sales rep's the problem. And you're going to blame all these things, but you don't actually understand. It has nothing to do with that. You were just sending out unqualified offers to people who should have been getting them. But you're tracking, we sent the offer out, we didn't get it signed. Who do I got to fire now? And this is going to basically reflect poorly on your ability to scale your business predictably. So we only send offers to people who've gone through a significant discovery process where we understand everything that's happening in their life, what's happening with the property, what's happening with their motivation, what their timeline looks like. We are only sending offers to qualified opportunities, and understand that very often they're going to get turned down. And so no one, I don't care who it is, no one is doing a freaking every offer they get a deal. If you put out an offer and 100% of the time you get a deal, what's happening is you're probably not shooting enough shots. That is a very true thing. If you are at 100% close rate, that probably means you're over filtering and only taking the low hanging fruit, and that's it. And you're not shooting enough shots. What we very often see on the flip side is if you're sending out 5 offers to only get 1 deal, right? A 1 to 5 rate. Here's the thing. Or a 5 to 1, 5 offers to get 1 deal signed. The problem with that is now you're sending out unqualified offers. You're wasting time. So you have to understand and see how, just based on if my offer ratio is too low, it means that we're over filtering in our sales process. If it's too high, it means that we're not filtering enough in our sales process. And from a human personnel standpoint, it means that I'm wasting my closer's time.
Mm-hmm.
And guys, oh my God, every freaking one of these metrics, I can like paint a picture for how it's going to affect your business over a long enough time horizon. I promise you, if you do this and your offer to contract ratio is 5 to 1, I promise you over a 6-month time horizon, your closer will quit on you because you are having them talk to unmotivated people, spending time doing a discovery process, maybe not enough, and still curating an offer, sending it out, following it up with them, chasing down that seller, but it was never going to get signed in the first place because an offer should not have gone to that human being in the first place. And what's going to happen is over 6 months, your closer will quit on you and they will blame you because you weren't setting them up to succeed by filtering enough. And I hope you guys, I need you guys to understand this. The KPIs also help you protect your team's time.
Yes. Dude, you just hit the nail on the head.
Culture. Oh, I'm sorry. Go for it.
Well, dude, you just hit the nail on the head. And like, this is like a big point. I don't want us to skim over this, that the numbers, you guys need to always remember this. The numbers correlate back to humans, to people. And if when you start forgetting that and you're just looking at the numbers as numbers and you disconnect it from the people, this is where the business is going to start to suffer. But when you realize those numbers represent a human, there's some story, there's something going on, whether that human is your staff, whether that human is your partner, whether that human is the seller and the consumer on the other side, you need to always remember it connects to people and the people tell a story.
Yep. Beautiful. Guys, I've seen this. This is, and there could be, depending on how you run your business, it could be a little bit different. How we run our business, how I've seen almost everyone who's doing way more money than me, people who are making 7 figures per month minimum, they all like to stabilize at between 2 to 4 offers per contract. That's the number where you need to be at. So if you see you're making 5 contracts to get a signed offer or a signed contract, we're not vetting enough. If it's a 1-to-1, right, we're probably vetting too much and we're leaving money on the table by not shooting a shot. I think that 2 to 4, let's just call it 3 right in the middle, that's usually where you want to be. And just so you guys know, if these numbers, it doesn't point to an issue in your marketing. It actually, this KPI specifically will point to an issue in your sales process, not in usually between a disconnect between your lead manager and your closer. And if they're one and the same, you know who to go talk to. But if you have a separation between the two, then you're good to go. Ooh, we got a question.
That's a great
What is
question.
the difference between a contract and an offer for a transactional lending business? Contract and an offer for transactional lending business. Okay, so great. So this spreadsheet is kind of geared towards a wholesale kind of acquisitions model. So we're talking to sellers, we're making offers to qualified opportunities. So from a transactional lending standpoint, right, the contract is a contract. It's a deal gets signed. We know we're going to fund it. An offer could be an incoming request. So if you're a lender, all you have to do is, I promise you, you can use almost the exact same metrics and understand that there's just labels that you have to swap. So instead of offers, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be offers per contract. It's actually going to, in my opinion, and I would talk to, I think Ryan Schroep would be a good one to talk to about this, because I know this is like all he does. I don't do much transactional lending, but I would amalgamate instead of offers per contract I would actually flip it to be lending request versus accepted requests. So if you're a transactional lender and you have all of these borrowers, submitting web forms to your CRM saying, hey, I need 50,000, hey, I need 40,000, hey, I need 5K for an EMD or a double close or whatever the hell it is, right? Those are incoming requests. Hell, consider it this way. They're making an offer for you.
Yep.
And it's up to you. You're almost like the seller in this position. You're the one who's going to decide which one I'm going to execute on. And so the same thing goes.
That's assuming you've got fixed rates in your business, right? Like when people come to submit the offer, they already understand what the lending criteria is going to be. If your lending criteria changes case by case, and sometimes you're asking for 20%, 50%, 40%, and your terms are constantly changing, that can also be a thing. Because if you're finding that people keep saying no to your money, maybe you're asking way too much for your money. Or if everyone's saying yes, you're probably giving your money away too cheaply. So
also, very, very good point. And so in the world of like wholesale real estate, we'll say leads generated, right? How much marketing how many leads do we generate? For a transactional lender who wants to hit a certain metric, right? For you, your lead generation isn't sellers, it is borrowers sending in inquiries. And so if your, let's just say lead to acceptance rate, right? Or request to acceptance, borrower requests, how many of those need to come in for me to accept a deal or accept a lending transaction, right? Same thing. The same thing applies. If your number is 20-1, I need to entertain 20, right? 20 borrower requests to execute on one. I'm not certain. I'm just like kind of making this up. This is hypothetical. My speculation is that's too many freaking borrower requests. And then instead of talking about like, oh, my closer, I know a lot of you transactional lenders are using web forms, right? You're going and posting on social media. You're saying, hey, I've got money. You're putting up a web form link. People are clicking it, filling it out, submitting it. How filtering is that web form.
Mhm.
So if your number's really, really, really high and you're getting 30, 40, 50 requests just for you to execute on one deal, that's a huge logistical issue, in my opinion, because you're still looking at those 30, 40, 50 deals that came in. Your goal should be, how do I just have like a 2, or for every 3, we end up executing on it as long as it's a proper deal, instead of navigating towards your closer. You, in a transactional lending standpoint, may want to navigate and audit your web form or your funnel that you're using to aggregate those leads.
I would say like that would point to me, like in my mind, if someone came to me and that was their issue, I'd be like, oh, then we're miscommunicating to the marketplace. And so my marketing probably sucks and I'm not filtering well enough that all these bad leads are coming in.
Beautiful. And then so for you, right, this next one actually may be a little bit more applicable. Instead of how many offers per contract, it may just be how many leads per contract. And so this is a little bit more granular for acquisitions, especially direct to seller or even direct to agent. I like direct to seller more. It's more predictable. But if you are in a lending standpoint, it may just be how many leads per contract. So you don't have to track all of these things. You can pick and choose what is more applicable to your business. And in a lending business, I'm going to be very real with you. A lending business is a lot simpler than a wholesale business. So if I give you the killer KPI, like the gospel of killer KPI, you may decide to throw half of it out because it's not applicable to your marketing and your industry. Totally fine. But I think the leads per contract may actually be the solid one for you. So you know how many offers per contract, you know how many leads per contract. Cool. Every marketing channel, right? Whether it's, let's say in the wholesale space, whether it's texting or calling or direct mail or PPC or PPL or door knocking. Hell, one of my new favorite things right now is email marketing that no one talks about in this industry because no one knows to. Ooh, I'm not even gonna say that. I was about to like just go too deep on
dude,
that.
that's gonna open up a whole nother episode.
Yeah, it's okay. You have to know that every marketing channel, right, has an expectation of leads per contract. This is known as an industry standard. In lending, okay, I know it's a little bit more obscure. There's not a million gurus telling you what the KPIs you should expect are, but there is going to be an expectation of leads per contract based on, heck, even a Facebook post. And so when we do tons of JVs and disposition deals, right, in the communities that we're in, we would go post on Facebook, here's a photo of an assignment fee, right? Here's how we do a ton of deals, this, that, and the other. And we'd say, hey, if you want us to dispo your deal, go ahead and shoot me a DM. On the back end, that just looks like a Facebook post. On the back end, we had a spreadsheet tracking how many inquiries came in on that. And so we understood, even for Facebook group posting, what our KPIs were for lead to deal ratios. So you can be extremely granular with all of this. Cool. Once you understand all of these preliminary things, you have a revenue goal, you understand your success rate, you understand that you have to lock up more than you want to close, right? You understand that you have $50,000 average deal size because you're in California. Cool. You know you need 6 deals every other week effectively. How many offers per contract? Your sales process is solid, 2.5, 3, 4, somewhere around. Let's just say 3. And then let's just say in the marketing channel that you're using something super niche down. Let's just say you need 25 leads per contract. There's a lot of things that can get you this. A lot of things that I have discovered recently that I don't even talk about. I've never talked about, but I'll probably do some trainings on them. You can 100% do 1 in 25 and spend pennies to do it. This is cool. Let me do this. The next part is how many offers with those preliminary input numbers, how many offers do you need to send out, qualified offers, to hit those goals? And so really quickly, team members need to be held to making offers. You do not hold your closers, your lead generators, your lead managers. You do not hold them to close revenue because stuff falls through a title. It's out of their control. Mm-hmm. You actually hold them to, are we making qualified offers? If we do that and focus on that KPI to hold our team to, we will actually make as much money as we want. It's very predictable. You do not immediately hold your acquisition reps to closing deals. Cool. You hold them to the process to make qualified offers. Cool. This is huge. This will help you understand. This metric will help you understand exactly how many people you need to hire and exactly how many hours they would need to work on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, so you're not over hiring or under hiring. And the cool thing is this. I want you guys to look at this. If our goal is to make $250,000, right, in the quarter, projected revenue here. Oh man, I need to change this to 6.66 because we changed our numbers, right? Was it 6.66? Yep, 6.66. Yep. Cool. Number of offers, let's just say offers per contract 3. Cool. These numbers are all writing themselves in this spreadsheet. It's actually pretty freaking awesome. On a quarterly basis, we know we need to hit these goals, right? When to go from a quarter to a month, all we do is divide by 3. So this number is this number divided by 3. This number is this number divided by 3. So if you want to hit a quarterly goal of 250,000 closed, then in a month, you just have to lock up in total assignments, knowing that stuff's going to fall through, 111,000. And then if you break it down further to a weekly basis, that means all you have to do is, and you're just going to divide this by 4, right? You can take this one, divide this by 3 to get here, divide it by 4 to get here. Cool. Now you don't have to focus on locking up 100,000 because that may seem so cumbersome, so aggressive. Maybe you only need to focus on locking up 27,000 a week. It's actually really interesting when you dial the numbers back granularly, how much more approachable things get. And then so let's do this, because I think these things are probably not uploading properly. It may not be syncing because I changed some of the numbers like an idiot. Yeah, this number is probably not right, but that's okay. Guys, I think we are running up on time. We are absolutely running up on time.
Yeah,
what I'm going to do is this.
I'll give you the 2-minute warning.
Yeah. Okay, guys. And it's funny. Ignore the end of the spreadsheet because it is glitching out a little bit because I changed some of the numbers up top. I want you guys to take a look at this. Cool. I'm gonna redo this and make this even better. Give you guys insight so you can track your businesses, this, that, and the other. I want you guys to take a look at this. The marketing side. Marketing is something that people don't understand. Your marketing will make or break you. It's your overhead. It's your expenses on your P&Ls. Outside of like people, marketing is going to be your biggest expense running a business. And if you don't understand granularly from a cold call perspective, right? What's it going to take? And then it's cool. I've actually broken all of this stuff down from a cold call, where you're getting the funds, this, that, and the other. And then it's cool. I've actually set expectations for you guys here, marketing channels and their metrics to know to expect. So if you're doing cold call, these are the only things that freaking matter. Don't listen to gurus telling you to go and track a million different things that do not matter. Like talk time kind of matters, not as much as you think it does. Truly, like I promise you that. With SMS, I know SMS is kind of like phased out in the industry. A year and a half ago, SMS was like the best thing on earth. About 2 years ago. But SMS, these are the only things that matter. Google PPC, the only things that matter. And guess what? I've actually broken down like 10 more marketing channels here. Same thing goes with teams. So when you go to this sheet, right, with your acquisitions team, I'm not going to show you guys everything because there's like way too much good stuff in there. But I'm going to revamp this entire thing. And this is what's going to be cool for you guys is next week. Guys, and I promise you, I would love to be able to go over all of this stuff with you. We just do not have enough time. That's why Killer KPIs, the masterclass, took like 5 freaking hours with the Q&A. So I want to say this. Next week, we've got an extremely epic episode. And it's going to be our first guest speaker in over a year. Maybe over a year and a half, 2 years. I don't even know. It's been forever. And the reason why is Marlon and I are extremely protective of this podcast and who we bring on it. And then what we've realized is because he and I are in so many amazing rooms with some of the highest level players in the game that we want to put the right people in front of you so you can start opening your eyes to like, here are real deal operators who are crushing the freaking game at some of the highest levels. And you may not even know that they exist, but you need to. And the people that we're going to put in front of you are going to be some of the best operators in the country. And they're people that I literally have to pay like 50 grand to like join Mastermind just to even know who these people are. And the cool thing is all the people that we're going to start bringing on, we're going to bring in the next guy next week. His name is Matt. Matt's amazing. Just stay tuned on my Instagram. I'll announce all the stuff and what he does and like why it matters to you guys. We're going to bring in guys who are crushing the storage space. My mentor in the storage space will be coming and doing an episode with us. And he's going to show you exactly how he's helping me buy, hopefully, like 10 storage facilities over the next 2 years. And so a lot of that's coming. Okay. But here's why it matters to you guys. Let me actually stop sharing this. Where the hell is the stop share button?
I already got it down for you.
Oh, thank you. Okay. There we go. Back on. Okay. Be there next week because next week I'm going to announce a giveaway winner. And the giveaway winner, I am going to talk with you specifically, privately, one-on-one. And what I'm going to do is I want to understand your business, exactly what it is. We're going to do a diagnosis of your business real quick, what you're selling, what you're doing, whatever the hell it is. Okay. Just for one winner. And I myself am going to go tweak the killer KPI spreadsheet to set goals for you to hit whatever the hell goal it is that you want to hit on a quarterly basis, on a semi-annual basis, on a yearly basis, whatever the number is. If you want to make $1 million as a wholesaler in the next 12 months, I will diagnose exactly what you got to work with, exactly what channels to use, what metrics, what offers, how many leads you need to generate, how many offers you need to make, all the things on a weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual basis to make $1 million. Only one person am I going to do that for, but that person will be chosen next week on Think Big. So I've never done that before. I typically will never give people coaching or mentorship, but I'm going to actually tweak and customize a killer KPI guide specific to one person's business. And I promise you, it normally would cost like 25 grand in some higher level mentorships to do that. Hell, I actually paid $25,000 to have a one-on-one with one of the best wholesalers in the industry. And they did this with me 2 years ago. I'm just going to do it for free to someone who shows up next week. That is going to be epic.
Freaking love it, bro. Dude, I love it. Guys, tonight was probably one of the most valuable episodes you've gotten. I know that for a fact. I was taking notes. I'm listening. I'm constantly learning. These are the people I keep in my inner circle. This is why I love Sam so much. And I know you guys do too. So do me a favor. Here's what we need, because I want to continue to see this channel grow. I want to make sure as many people are tapping in with strong, useful, helpful information to grow their business this year. And that's going to be on the Think Big podcast. And that's going to happen from you. If you're getting value, what I want you to do is to be the person that doesn't hog it for yourself, but you actually share it and help another entrepreneur out. You remember what it was like in the beginning where you were trying to find good information, you were trying to find reliable sources and vetted people to learn from. I remember that struggle personally. Like, where are the good people that I can trust, that can guide me, that can help me on my journey? If you're feeling like you're getting that here on this podcast, what I need you to do is I need you to screenshot however you're listening to this. If some of you put us on the big screen, I know every week Chris throws us up on the big screen. Some of you are watching us on your cell phone. Wherever you're watching, screenshot it, take a photo, and share it on Instagram. Tag me, tag Sam. We'll reshare your post if you tag us on Instagram. And if you aren't following Sam already, I know some of you are here from my Instagram. I want you guys to look at this. This is Sam's Instagram. If I'm able to check this out, this handsome man right there that I thought once was a bot. He's not a bot. He's a real guy. Arch Sam Singh. What you're going to do is, Sam, look, I'm actually following you, bro. For some reason, my Instagram kept unfollowing Sam every week. Don't know why. Make sure you're following Arch Sam Singh. He should be at like 40,000 followers. I don't know why he's only at 4,000 followers. Go and follow him. Stay plugged in. Stay connected. Tag us on Instagram tonight. Tag us right now on IG. All right, guys, I love y'all. We'll be back next week with our first guest in over a year. It's going to be a killer episode. We'll see you guys next week.